What's up, fish fam? I'm Dan from Michigan Aquatics, and welcome back to the show. And I present to you the Eastern American toad, a very common amphibian species found throughout the eastern United States and southern parts of Canada. And I'm pretty sure the range even extends a little bit farther west. Today is part 1 of a series where I will be talking about everything I know about the American toad because of just how cool these little things are. So without further ado, let's get into it. Living with me, I have 2 Eastern American toads named Freckles here and then Billie Jean here. I have had them both for right around a year, probably just a little bit less, and they've been doing extremely well. I chose the 2 of them very specifically because of how well they seem to take being in captivity and not in the wild. How well they took to being handled, how well they tolerated it, and how well they took to hand feeding live feeding with feeding tweezers. Now, my favorite foods to give these guys are generally mealworms and superworms, but I mix it up. I'll get some small dubla roaches or maybe some crickets, but I typically like to have the superworms and mealworms because they're a little bit easier to gut load. As for a feeding schedule, it's really variable. You can feed them maybe a couple superworms a day, or you could feed them maybe 3 or 4 superworms every 4 days to a week, or even longer. I like to do most of my feedings with them outside of the tank because that's one of the really awesome things about toads that I think makes them even better than bullfrogs in a way, is that you can remove them from their enclosures and handle them. You can set them on a surface and feed them by hand. They become really comfortable with you and can become comfortable with a lot of other things happening in their surroundings, and it just makes them a really interesting amphibian to keep. And they're also very easy to care for and maintain. One American toad could probably live comfortably in between a 15 to 20 gallon aquarium as the minimum, but larger is always going to be better. And substrate is also a very important thing for the American toad, or really any toad for that matter, because they are a burrowing amphibian. So you want a good 3 to however much inches of substrate you want past 3. Just thought I'd show off my cool living room setup here for doing these feeding videos. Toads, as I'm sure you well know, or at least most of them, are dry amphibians, which is completely different from frogs and salamanders and such. And what this means is, while it is not as big of a deal to the toad to keep their habitat moist, it's not as big of a deal as it is with frogs. Now, I have found that it is a little bit better to have the humidity higher than, what some areas might say. They seem to quite enjoy having more 75-80% humidity, in comparison to like 65-70, which is really low. It's usually what I think is recommended for toads. But you can see the tank setup I have here going on. Now, this is my 40-gallon breeder. All of this is from around here, all of the wood and such. I have a Reptifogger hooked up on it, which is ridiculously expensive, but it looks really cool and moistens the air and the outside of everything. I'll do a video on it in the future. But one of the things I would like you to take notice while you're watching this, and you can even watch back through it, is all of these branches and logs and such that I have more in the mid-upper level of the tank. These are all set up in a way to where the toads can climb on them. It gives them something to do. A lot of the toad tanks I see on here are pretty bare. There's a couple hiding spots, and that's really it. I like to make sure there's stuff for them to do, things for them to climb on. It just kind of helps keep their muscles working and keeps them in shape, and overall makes them healthier and look better. And speaking of looking better, look at this guy. Look at those colors. Freckles has to be one of the, if not the most colorful and interesting to look at American toad I think I've ever caught. And I've got tons of clips of him and Billie Jean to get on here for you guys shortly, but I think for now, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you did enjoy and you would like to see more. I got a new phone a couple of days ago, so we got some real good footage that's coming in. I got more things to edit right now as we speak. So I'll see you all there. But for now, Happy New Year, and fish on.